Hello and welcome to the Creative Life Podcast. I'm your host, Amanda Qureshi, but you can call me Q. Today, I have a long time, I'm going to call you, we're friends, right? We are friends. Okay, we started as coworkers, but it doesn't feel right to introduce you as a coworker. Because I feel like you're more than that.
Agreed.
Okay,
Agreed.
good.
Yeah.
But I did, in fact, meet you at work, and you were you were running the audio visual department in an organization where we were both working, and we met actually when I started doing a podcast there. Right?
Yes, indeed.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So, but recently, and you've always been a photographer, you did photography for that org, you've done photography for yourself, but recently you've kind of launched out on your own, you've started your own business, and you are a gifted photographer. And I knew at some point you had to come on the show, and I think this is the perfect time. So, welcome
Yay.
to the Creative Life Podcast, Virginia Hernandez.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited.
Here's what's amazing to me about you is that you're the kind of person that when you get down, like when somebody kicks you down, you don't like sit there and make a big fuss about it, but then you just like collect yourself, get up, and then kick ass. It's amazing. It's amazing. Like when I look at the way you and I both have kind of changed in the last few years, like I fell apart. It was just traumatic. And like you, I know you went through some shit too. We don't have to talk about all that, but I know you like had some struggles of your own, including, being unemployed, like during a pandemic. And so, I'm in awe of your ability to keep it together, not freak out, and have the balls to like go ahead and be like, okay, well, this is the time that I'm going to have my creative career is I'm going to make it happen.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah, it's definitely, right after I left, the place where we worked, it wasn't under good circumstances. And it was kind of a traumatic departure that I had to process. But it's like, I always feel like when you have no choice, you're going to get up and rise to the occasion. So that's kind of just what ended up happening was like, what am I going to do next? I had been daydreaming about being independent for a long time anyway. And so it's just time to throw absolutely everything into that and see what would happen.
I mean, was it terrifying? It sounds terrifying.
Absolutely terrifying every day, all the time. It's so funny because like now that I'm like 2 years down the road, it's still scary like every day, but it's like this feeling of like peacefulness and satisfaction and fulfillment coexists alongside that fear.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I just keep focusing on that as much as I possibly can. Like it just feels like the right path even when it's tough. So
I mean,
yeah.
that's good, right? Like that's how it should be. I think we kind of have this weird idea that if things are right, they'll be easy. Relationships, work, whatever. And that's not true. And I don't think we want it to be true. I think we like challenges. I think we like working hard and like feeling like we've accomplished something. It's just you have to be doing it for the right reason. There has to be a really important, a strong why at the center of what you're doing. And I think for a lot of people, especially creative people, when you get into these jobs where you get to kind of be creative a little bit, but they end up, and there's the stability, it's a regular paycheck, and you think, oh, well, this is as good as it could get for me. Like this is, I should be grateful that I at least get to do something creative, right, and earn a paycheck. But at a certain point, I think, especially when you're maturing as an artist or creative, you get to that stage where you're just like, this is not fulfilling. It's actually making me quite miserable. And then it just takes like one or two little things and for you to just be like, yeah, I'm out of here. Do you ever see yourself going back to a corporate environment?
um, I would do it under the right circumstances. I've applied for, a handful of jobs that were like, well, this is too good to
Mm,
pass up. But honestly, like the freedom of having making your own schedule, finding your own work and all that. It's just like that. Now I look at people who have full-time jobs and like, I don't know how I did that for so long.
yeah.
Like it just wasn't like for my, and I'm sure you can relate to this, like for my personality, my drive, like that's not the right environment for me to thrive as a person, as an artist.
Yeah.
And I feel that so strongly now. Like just I was like felt trapped in a little box for the longest time.
Yeah.
And it was great, having when my son was young, like two, and his very toddler years that were hard for being a single mom at that time. That was the perfect situation for me.
Sure.
Regular paycheck, daycare, and then, as he's gotten older, and I've gotten older and changed my life priorities, like is definitely no longer the ideal scenario
Yeah.
for me.
Yeah. Good though. That's good because I'll tell you, I think that's true of so many people, but still a lot of people don't make that leap. They don't choose themselves. They'll
Mhm.
just stay where it's safe or whatever. And I hate to think that it has to get to the point where you're just so miserable, right?
Yeah,
That you just walk away and start your own thing. But I think for some of us that's what it is. Like there's fear there. Like it is a risk. Like this is a big thing, right? And so just depending on your personal temperament, like some people are more risk averse than others, whatever. I was talking to somebody else on a previous episode and they were talking about how there are these windows of time in your life where you have the opportunity to pursue this thing that you just love. And for a lot of people that comes when they're young, which makes sense because you don't have a job or you don't have a house payment, you don't have kids, whatever. So you have the window seems to be there. But in reality, it's not just a thing that happens to young people. And I think for a lot of women, it happens after our kids are at a certain age where we feel like we can relax a little bit and then
yeah,
and they're a little bit more self-sufficient and then we can kind of turn our attention and kind of like audit our time. Is this really what I want to be doing with my life?
definitely. Yeah. I also think like, one of the factors for me is like I grew up in tough circumstances. Like my parents had me when they were 18 and 19, and we grew up poor. I mean, just straight up poor. And my mom, now she is massively successful, but that didn't happen until I was in high school.
Mm,
So my whole upbringing is making the best of whatever we had. And she always did that. And we never felt like deprived.
mm-hmm,
We just made do with what we had, and that was just a simple fact. Not even like be grateful for what you have, but like this is what we have. This is great. So, yeah.
yeah.
So I feel like when I had a full time job and I was making a good salary, having that mindset from youth of like stashing money away, like I don't spend, I save. And
Mm,
so that was part of what enabled me to go down this path, is like, well, I have like a cushion, I can invest in myself. Like when people ask me how'd you do it, it's like, well, you have to be prepared to invest in yourself, and that includes money.
mm-hmm,
Having that backup plan, because you're not always gonna, I mean, freelance life is what it is. It's gonna be ups and downs. So you have to be prepared to dip into that cushion a little bit and, have faith in yourself that you're gonna come out on the other side just fine or better.
I really admire that. Like I was raised in similar circumstances where my parents had me when they were young. They were both complete fools. And like my entire first half of my life was just sort of, trying to cope basically. I didn't have a lot of, we didn't have money, we had nothing. And so it wasn't like we were poor to the point where you don't even know how poor you are. Right.
Yeah.
Like we just
Same.
we didn't know what we were missing out on because we were never even exposed to it. When you get older, I don't think people recognize how much poverty impacts your everyday life in adulthood.
Mm-hmm.
Even if, and maybe even especially if you're not poor anymore when you get older. Like I'm solidly middle class now, but like I worry constantly about it. Right. And so
Same.
it's just, it is what it is. But I love that you turned it around, instead of making it, I think there's a tendency to just be like totally risk averse there and be like, well, I've been down that road. I've been poor. I never want to go down there again. I'm going to do everything to avoid it, including denying my dreams. The point being that I think that makes you even more extraordinary as a person, and as a creative, because one, you had that kind of impoverished childhood where you didn't have everything at your disposal. You had been working for years, so you were in a comfortable position. You were a single mom. And, to my mind, these are all excuses that people make for not doing what you're doing. So you're a little crazy, and I respect that enormously. I mean it, actually.
It does feel, I appreciate that. Yeah, it does feel like completely wacky sometimes. I know like my mom was especially like concerned, when I left my full-time job of, well, like, when are you going to get another job? And like, it's hard for people to wrap their heads around being a creative person that has full-time work that isn't in an office. And especially if you don't know a lot of working creatives, like, as you know, being a working creative is a lot of hustle. Like there's just so much hustle involved, and there's a lot of days of where it's just all emails and phone conversations and securing clients. So it is very much like a business. It is a business that you have to understand and have that level of savvy for. I really appreciate having had that experience, for 8 years of running a department, dealing with CEOs and high level people, because now I feel like I can deal with anybody. So that gave me a lot of those skills. But then you have that, for the creative mind, having any sense of freedom in your work is just like no other feeling there is.
Yes. And I think there's an argument to be made that actually starting up and running a business can be a creative endeavor too. So not only are you doing the creative work, but then you're also creating the infrastructure, the scaffolding to support it, which is nice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, I feel good about that. I feel, proud of having the skills to be able to do that. People may not fully succeed at turning a creative endeavor into a full-time job because they don't have that background, a business background, or the savvy to know the business aspects. So I do feel very grateful to have that.
Yeah. I think that's it, right? Anyone can be an artist. Everyone is an artist, in my opinion. Everyone has creative abilities, and they're innate, and we're usually in touch with them when we're younger, and then it gets kind of weeded out of us as we get older, and all of that. I think that that's true, but I also think that, like, for creative people who want to make money, and I mean that's the bottom line, right? Because I could sit here and write all the novels I wanted, and you're still doing art, you're still an artist, whatever. But if you actually want to earn something from it, even the most basic level of selling your work or having people support it, you have to have some business sense. Either that, or you have to be under the care of somebody who has some business sense. And you have to really trust them, because there's a lot of artists that have been screwed over by those people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be so nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, you have to play the game a little bit, just the economy that we live in, the type of economy that we live in. And you have to play the game. And if you can find a way to do that, that feels good for you, it's like, it doesn't feel like you're part of the rat race. It's like, well, I'm, doing what I need to do for my business. And that's what makes it different from working for someone else too. It's like, this is for my benefit.
Yeah. No,
And
that's
so,
true. Yeah.
yeah, it's like the hustle is like an accomplishment, a personal accomplishment.
Yeah.
So.
If your boss is an asshole, then you got to take it up with them.
Yeah.
Go have a good long talk with yourself in the mirror.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great.
Nap today.
Yeah, right. Well, this is all really exciting. And you are just, so I saw this week an announcement that you have a partner now.
Yes.
So are you actually setting up space? Because you were just doing freelance before, right?
So you didn't meet him, but Mike Boyd worked at the same place that we worked. It was after you left. He actually inherited your computer, which, so every time I say, hey, do you remember Q? He's like, oh yeah, that was my computer. Nice. So anyway, yeah. But we had been working together for a long time and brought him on board there. He left a year after I did, for similar reasons. And then we just over the past year have been tackling gigs together, photo and video. And then he has this amazing big house where he was able to actually create 3 studio spaces in his house.
Wow.
And for the past year been, beefing up those spaces so they are truly professional spaces. So a portrait studio, a music studio with like professional stage lighting, and a podcast space. So we decided to go ahead and like rebrand as a full service production company, and have been focused on that for the past several months. And so it's actually super exciting because the stuff that we're able to do with our own spaces just takes everything to the next level.
Yeah.
And then we're able to keep our fees reasonable and in the range for our clients, because those are our spaces that we control. We don't have to go out elsewhere. So yeah, there's a lot of exciting things happening.
That's awesome.
And it's been great. Yeah, we had our launch week last week and had like an amazing reception to what we're doing so far. So we're very pumped.
Wow, that is so cool. I'll have to come and check it out. Are you going to have like a little, like, I don't know,
open house style thing?
Yeah.
We did think about that. We had thought about doing that like in December, but just weren't quite ready. But
do it and just do like $30 one-time headshots or something to get people to come there, and like,
yeah,
that would be awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
Cool. All right, well, yeah, so let's be clear about all this, because I mean, you are a photographer and you're very gifted, and you've won awards, and but then you also have lots of other skills. Like you've done like video production. You also are a musician on your own. And I'm loving, like, you've started doing, and I don't know if this is for work or if you're just doing this because it's something that you love, you tell me, but you've been doing a lot of like show photography as well, of live music acts, which is like, I'm loving, as you know, that's like one of my favorite things in the world is live music. So how what's that all about? Like, at what point did you decide, well, yes, I am going to start out on my own and start my own business, and while I'm at it, I guess I'll be a rock star? What are you doing? Tell me.
I know. All of my friends are like, "Don't you have enough on your plate? Like, what is your problem?"
Whatever.
So yeah, yeah. So the music thing basically sort of came up during the pandemic. Of like, well, I've always wanted to learn how to play an instrument. And now I have all the time in the world trapped in my home. So I started trying to teach myself piano during the pandemic. And it was sort of like moderately successful. But with piano, there comes a time where you just need an actual teacher. It's
Yeah.
like there's only so far you can go on your own. And then I switched to bass because Mike is a bass teacher. He's a first and foremost a phenomenal bass player, just absolutely killer. But it was an instrument that he could teach me. So I learned the basics during the pandemic. And then last year, just decided I was tired of being bad at it. So I was like, I decided to join this amazing music school for women and women identifying individuals called FemRock. And it's just the best program, the best community. They have a very robust Slack community with, probably 200 or more people in it. But the band classes it's all women with a coach, just like the coolest environment for learning that you could possibly have. So that was like my incentive to, practice and get better. And over the past year, I've definitely gotten a lot better. It feels so good to be like competent on an instrument. I never had the opportunity to play an instrument as a kid
Yeah.
because it was like band is expensive, so that was just not an option.
Yep.
So it's kind of like a little bucket list item that I'm checking off now. And it just happens to be amazingly fun and rewarding too.
Yeah, that's so cool. So do you have like an actual band? Have you formed a band?
Not a permanent band. So the bands rotate out, but then we will play with each other, outside of that as well. So right now I'm doing a Beatles cover band. We just started that. And we're going to have a showcase in March. But actually, I am looking to hop into a band after this session just because I feel like I'm ready. I'm at that point now where I can rehearse, I can learn songs quickly, I can play, so I'm excited to do that.
All right. If you need a vocalist, I'm here for you.
Yes.
Seriously. I was in bands. I used to be in bands. I used to be cool.
Awesome.
Yes.
I didn't know you sang.
I did musical theater too.
Cool.
Yeah. But I need to go into training. It's a little rusty now. Now I just scream at my family. All those years of like vocal training really help with that because you can be heard pretty far. Like when you breathe from your diaphragm, oh yeah, you can project that voice.
I'm seeing the potential here. Rage Against the Machine.
Yo, baby.
Going.
Yes. Well, that's so good. Like that just makes me so happy. Like in some ways, I think you and I are on really similar trajectories, and you just never know what life is going to hand you. But I'm really, really excited about being in a creative space and trying all these different things. And I have the same thing. People are like, why do you do so many things? Because it's so interesting to me. Like I want to do all these things. It's so fun. And it's not just the creative process itself, but it's also the collaboration with other creative people. Because there's just, when you get around people, these are my people. They are people who like to think differently. They like to imagine things. They like to experiment. They like to fuck around and find out. That is me. And so when I get to be in spaces with people who are like that, I feel like I thrive. And I feel like I'm late to creative community. Like I was always kind of a loner. And it was only in the last few years that I started to find creative community. What has been your experience with that? Like you mentioned you joined this kind of rock
Mm-hmm.
school, lady rock school, which is
Yeah.
kind of rad. But also, just like what has been your experience with that? With finding community? Yeah.
I feel, very much your same journey. It's been like the past few years, basically, like once I struck out on my own, that I've really, I'm an introvert by nature, and I don't love the schmoozing aspect of of business.
Yeah.
Um, but I guess it kind of started last year when I did South by, was on the South by photography team, and just meeting a ton of other photographers all at once, and it was like a breath of fresh air. Like, oh, like someone, other people who understand
Mm-hmm.
not only photography talk, but like what it feels like, to get those shots, and like how exciting it is to be there. And um, so that was really a huge community that I jumped into. And then online, also on Instagram, I've met quite a number of other local photographers, and just like cheering on each other's work, being inspired by each other's work. It's just amazing, and it feels so good. And I've actually reflected on this a few times, just how my communities have grown, these creative communities that I've joined, and new people that I've met, and just how much value that's added to my life. Like, of course, I, love my coworkers that I worked with and everything, but that's very different from the creative community and how that functions. I'm super grateful to have found that sense, and it drives you when you see other people working and other
Yeah.
people succeeding. It drives you. And sometimes I'm like, oh my God, like, their work just blows my mind. And I'm like, I'm never going to do anything like that. And those are the moments that you need, when everyone tells you like, oh, you're so good, you're great, you're amazing, blah, blah, blah. When I see work that I'm like, I don't even know how they did that, or it's so far away from what I'm doing. It's like that, those are the inspirational moments for me. So it's awesome.
Yeah, and what's so interesting is, we were talking about the difference between like creative community and like just like a work community or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And all community can be dysfunctional in some respect. But I think one of the things that is a hallmark for creative community for me, and I might just be lucky because I might have just never encountered it, but most of the actual creative community, and I don't mean community in the loosey-goosey term like we all follow the same people on Blue Sky.
Right.
I mean like people with whom you regularly meet
Mm-hmm.
and work and assist one another and offer encouragement and feedback, and those relationships often, it's very rare for me to experience envy or to have other people turn it around and like be jealous. Not that I'm a genius or anything, but like, like I don't ever feel that sense of like competition or
Yeah.
like, oh, and when I see somebody who's really, really good at something, even if they're somebody that, or especially if there's somebody that I know well, it doesn't make me feel like I'll never be good. It makes me feel like that is so awesome. What can I do? What can I do?
Mm-hmm.
Right? I get so juiced up like watching other people thrive and succeed. And I think it's because fundamentally, I don't think that there can be competition in a creative sense. There can be competition in a business sense, right? That's a totally different ballgame.
Mm-hmm.
But when we're talking just about creativity and our actual work product and the art that we put out into the world, it's so dependent on who you are as a person. You are truly a unique lens on the world. And so nobody is going to duplicate your work. not even fucking AI.
100%. Yeah, I
Right? And
completely
so
agree.
it kind of gives you this freedom to be, like, just let down your guard a little bit. I mean, look, I'm not saying don't be wise. Like, always protect yourself, you know. Don't just like go around being a fool and trusting everybody or whatever. But when you are in a healthy creative community and those relationships, you don't feel like you have to be on guard all the time, and you feel like you can make mistakes and try things and take risks and get the feedback that you need without it, you know, damaging your reputation as a creator or whatever. And so I really feel strongly that artists should have these, I'm going to call them enclaves. They're
Mhm.
just sort of private spaces because the world doesn't understand artists.
Yeah.
They like some art. They like some art if it's a product and they can buy it and sell it and put it on and make themselves feel and look cool, whatever. But like for people that are engaged in the day-to-day aspects of producing creative work, there has to be freedom and there has to be safety and there has to be space to not be on all the time, right?
Yes.
And if you don't find that with other creatives, I don't know where you're going to find it.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. Because it's a process, the creative process. Like there are days where you're not going to feel like creating and you can't on those days, and if you say that at work, like,
Yes.
guys, today, not a good day for me to work. That just doesn't fly, isn't acceptable. You're considered, I mean, you would be considered to be a bad employee, but that's just not how creativity functions. And
Mm-hmm.
so having people who understand there are dips and valleys, and highs, and you have to work through those and celebrate those and be okay with those in order to succeed as an artist. That's a part of the process, is digging in, and digging in isn't always pretty and it's not always easy. And you have to find that. And I was going to mention one other thing you made me think of when you were talking about not comparing yourself to other people in the way of like letting yourself get down about it. It's like now the position where I am in my photography journey, it's like when I see these other people that are creating things that through their lens, that I'm like, that's so not my lens, but it is mind blowing. It's like really the only competition you have as an artist is yourself. It's like you can only make your own work. And like that's the only thing that will look and feel authentic to you, your own eyes, and to your audience. Like if I start putting out work, I don't know if you follow Ima. She's a photographer on Instagram, but her work is just so amazing. And it's like this, there's this darkness to it that I love, that someone can like bring to life dark emotions in photography in such a unique and beautiful way. I just love what she does. I know that's not my perspective. And if I tried to copy it, I could probably copy it, but it wouldn't be authentic. It wouldn't look like
Yeah.
my work. So yeah, you just have to have a clear vision of your own art, your own sensibilities, and keep following that, even no matter what other things you see, and no matter what your
Yeah.
inspiration is. Your competition is really your work from a year ago. Is it better? Is your work now better
Yeah.
than it
Yeah.
was?
Yeah, that's so interesting because I feel like what you were just saying about finding your own voice or your own lens, that that is a process. It's not some people amazingly like just have it.
Mm-hmm.
Like they just pick something up and they're just immediately clear, like, oh yes, this is who I am and this is what I want to put in the world. For a lot of us, and especially those who are in creative recovery, people for whom, they spent years denying their creativity and just pretending it didn't exist and ignoring all those impulses. I think part of it too is recognizing that your creative vision, that your voice, that your perspective isn't going to always arrive fully fleshed out. And it's not going to be this, like, it's not going to be like there with a bow on top. Like, you have to work through some stuff sometimes, right? A lot of times. And you have to experiment a little and try things on. Does this work? Nah, it doesn't feel right. That is why, like, you have to be able to do that without performing, right? Like, you have to be able to do that process of figuring out who you are as a creator without being judged, right? You have to be in a situation, find a situation where you're doing it without being judged. And it's not an easy thing to do. It's a really stressful process. So again, that is why I feel like we need creative community. We also need creative mentors, right? We need people who are further down that path or who do have much more experience, who can at least see where we are and, give us the kind of feedback and encouragement that we need. But for you, you're talking about this other artist and that's not your perspective. And I completely see that. But how then did you develop your perspective? Considering what I just said about having to like figure it out. I mean, have you always known who you are, at least as a photographer? Or obviously everybody's work evolves, but how much did you control that evolution, and how much of it was it just a matter of it emerging after you doing the work for so long?
Yeah, that just perfectly touches on what I was going to say. The process of developing your style, happens over time. And I do think, like I had an interest in photography as a kid and like had cameras, as a kid all the way through, college and everything. And so I developed my eye without knowing jack shit about how cameras work. It's like nobody, in my family knew how to use a camera or off of auto mode or whatever. And you didn't even have that option back in the day. But it's like, that cliche, I don't know if it's a cliche or not, but that you have to work 10,000 hours to be good at something. It's like it's like sort of like that repetition. So when it comes to my work, I feel like there are certain genres where I've done it so many times that it's like an autopilot thing. It's like I look through the lens and I know this is the shot I want to get. I know what shots I need. It's like instinctive at this point. It's like when you try to stretch outside of that box and do a different kind of project that it's like, oh, where did my voice go? Where did my perspective go? So I'm working on this portrait series for a long COVID photo documentary project that I started last year. And essentially what it is my best friend got diagnosed with long COVID, and I watched her life completely change, like just from being the most like extroverted, go do everything, ambitious person to can't get out of bed, have to quit my job. All relationships are suffering and massively depressed. And I got inspired to do a photo shoot with her. Like, let's try to capture those emotions. And like in that, it's like, that's what the goal is. Like, how am I going to do that? I have to kind of trust my instincts once I'm at the shoot. So, it's putting a lot of time and effort. I'm sure, like, if someone asked you to write a blog post or, like an article, you would just whip that out. But with a novel, it's like
Yeah.
you're pulling new things out of your brain and sort of.
Yeah, sometimes not just my brain.
Yeah. And just trusting the learned things that you already have, trusting your instincts that you're gonna get there. So this project is like how to capture each person and their experience authentically to them, and then also staying within my style has been like the most that I've pushed myself creatively in the past year. And I'm really happy when I look at those results because I can see, just the product of it's so much about earning trust with your subject too for photography. It's like putting in that time and that work to make it like a collaboratively emotional experience, if that makes sense,
It
to
does.
get somebody to open up to you. And that's part of the vision, is getting them. You have to get them there so you can get there. So it is challenging coming up with those new ideas, but it's also like insanely rewarding when you see like, oh my God, that worked. It's like
Yeah.
you don't know until I don't know till I pop it on my computer and I'm looking at it in the editing program and I'm like, yes, it did work. So
Wow, that's amazing. Yeah, I think you are a great case for giving young people creative tools and then letting them just fuck around with it,
mhm.
right? I think, we teach kids technically how to do certain creative things, but I almost feel like the technical part is the easy part. And having that opportunity to get to know yourself as a creative person, as a young person, as a child, I think what that does is it teaches you how to listen to yourself. It teaches you how to respect your own instincts,
Mhm.
right? It teaches you how to problem solve around your creativity without having some other voice in your head saying, this is how you're supposed to do this. This is how you're supposed to do this, right? And which is not to say, like, I actually believe that, all this creative work, there are rules to this work. There are rules,
Yeah.
right? There are masters. There are people who have done this work for years and years and years, and there are best practices and all of that. But all of that can be learned. And those are things that change anyway over time, right? As technology evolves, all of these things change. But what doesn't change and what's essential to the creative act is that sense of your creative self
Mhm.
and the ability to trust it and listen to it, especially because we live in a world where everybody is going to tell you you're wrong for what you're doing. You should be doing it this way, or don't do it that way, or blah 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 blah. You're not good enough, or this or that. And one of the things that I notice in creative people, really healthy, productive creative people, is this sense of knowing themselves and being okay with other people not liking it.
Mhm.
Just being like, no, I know what I'm doing.
Mhm.
I know what I'm doing here. And you may not understand it and you don't have to like it, but I'm not going to let you dictate my creative process.
Yeah.
And I think that speaks to what you were saying earlier a little bit too, of just like, how do you preserve that part of yourself? How do you keep yourself from, when you do have to have a business and you do have to sell your stuff to support yourself? How do you avoid being iterative or just making your art as a product instead of
Mhm.
actually putting your heart and soul into it? Like, it's very tempting for artists to conform or to just try to do what they know people are going to like and want to buy. But when you are at a certain point in your creative journey, you don't want to do that anymore.
Absolutely.
And it's lovely to see people blossom into that and say, I'm going to do whatever the hell I want.
Yeah.
Because I like and respect myself as a creator.
Mm-hmm.
And it may not even look good right now, but this is the path I'm on. And yeah, I think that's, I mean, I have this mental image of this cute little Virginia with her little camera wandering around town and taking photos and like just enjoy. Like I was that kid too. I dig it. I think it's awesome
Yeah.
that you were, and I think your parents are amazing for letting you do that, even despite not having a lot of money.
Yeah.
They recognize the value of that.
Yep. I got that. You know, when I was 8, I got my first camera and I was like, I want that. And they're like, sure, here you go, kid, whatever. But yeah, you know, to your point of like, you know, and speaking to the creative community aspect of it, I think, you know, once you hit a certain point in your journey, you know, where we are now, and you realize there are just a vast number of creative people working in different fashions with different processes. It's like it's really hard to see any art as wrong, you know, or
Mm-hmm.
better than something else. You know, obviously there's things that stand out, but that doesn't make any other thing bad or, you
Yeah.
know, or wrong. So it's like if someone doesn't like my style and it's not for them, awesome. You know, I'll help you find someone who is, you know, is in your style because I know they're out there. And yeah, I think you can't get too bogged down on that.
Yeah.
One of the things about having a business and being a creative person is like you have to be willing to let customers go if they're not a good fit for you. And whether that's their budget or their aesthetic or whatever it is, like you just have to be okay with that. And that takes time to develop when you're hungry, you know, when you're hungry for money, you're hungry for work, you're hungry for portfolio material. Like you don't always want to say no, but sometimes you have to, and it's for the best, you know, for you and the client in the end.
Tell me, what are some deal breakers for you? What is something that would make you be like, nah, this isn't for me?
Um, well, there's obvious ones like getting requests from men who want me to take sexy pictures of them. And, you know, I'm not opposed to doing that. But when they make it clear, you know,
Yeah,
in the
yeah, yeah.
process of trying to hire me that this is going to be a certain kind of shoot, I'm like,
Ew,
yeah,
that's
like
gross.
I'm not your person for that, you know.
Yeah,
Just having boundaries essentially. A lot of it comes
yeah,
around budget, especially now that I am established and um you know, as you're well aware, creative arts are not valued that highly. And there's
yeah,
still tons of people that are willing to work for free because they're in that stage of they're hungry and they just need they feel like that's the way to get themselves established. And people want this quality of work for that price. And it's like, well, you know, I can't. And I'm sorry, you know, I'd love to help you, but it's just not, you know, I'm not able to do that. Um, so yeah. Other than that, you know, I'll do like I love to do a huge variety of projects, and that's kind of a problem. So it's like still taking on like 5-year-old birthday parties and stuff because I love taking pictures of kids and families and like those little projects that other photographers might turn down at this point. It's like, but I like doing that stuff. And,
yeah.
you know,
You can tell. Like, so you've
it,
done some really cute ones of like housewarmings. I
yeah.
think there's some weddings. You've done some South Asian family gatherings that are just so cute. I mean, and you can tell that this is something you enjoy doing.
Hmm.
Plus, my guess is when you do these, that you get cake. Like if you're at a birthday, don't they give you cake?
100%. Yeah.
Okay, so that's like a huge, huge factor for me.
Yeah. You know, I value those memories for them because I know how much they mean to me in my life with my son. So it's like, if
Mm.
someone's excited to have me come out, I literally just did a 5-year old's birthday party on Saturday, and the mom was
Aw.
just enormously pumped to have a professional come out and capture the memories. And I'm excited for that too. I'm excited for them to have those memories and to be able to
Yeah.
share them. So
What I hear when you say that is that you really like the freedom to be able to choose how you spend your time and talent.
yeah.
And I think that that is the biggest, like, nobody goes into being an independent creative because they think they're going to get rich.
Right.
I mean, you want to earn a living, obviously, but really it's about, I think at a certain point, you look at how much time you have on this earth and you're like, man, I just can't do this thing, this horrible thing. This thing is taking up so much of my time and energy, and I really want to be doing this. This is my purpose,
Hmm.
right? And so you have to like step away from that and focus your energy there. And so I mean, I'm just so excited that that was something that you were able to do. And I think that the common driver for creatives who make that choice is, do I get to control where and when I spend my time and talent,
Hmm.
right? And the fact that, you might end up being a world famous photographer and then just decide, you want to do 5-year-old birthdays for fun, right?
Yeah,
But like that's a legitimate choice. Like these are
it is.
legitimate choices and no one gets to fault you for that because you're the artist and you get to make those choices. And I think that that is really a difference between like the business model or the capitalist model, which is, if something is making money, that's the most important thing, and you don't get to choose what you want to do.
Right.
You go with the thing that's going to make you the most money at any given time, and that's a terrible way to live your life,
Yeah, absolutely.
especially when it's not even money for you, when you're doing the work so somebody else gets the money.
Right. No
Really
kidding. Oh
sucks.
my God.
Which is
Yeah.
like most of us, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's also,
Yeah.
I feel like some creative people get caught up in the whole like, well, I wouldn't want to have a kid's birthday party on my portfolio because, it's anybody can do that. It's childish or whatever, it's like, well, don't put it on your portfolio. That doesn't mean don't have a
Yeah.
skill that you can share with families and people who just, it's not glamorous, but it's important. I've just never, wanted to discriminate that way. There's certain genres that I don't touch because I don't think I could be good at it. Like, like the newborn photography where they pose the
Oh, yeah.
babies and they put all those props on them. I'm like, I would be so scared. I would be so
Yeah.
scared to touch the babies. So,
Yeah. I don't know who does that. Like that is scary work.
yeah, that's a
And if the
whole
baby has a meltdown,
skill. Yeah.
you're screwed.
Or like you see the like leaky poop things all the time. Yeah. Um, but yeah, outside of that, it's like I enjoy events that are high level and I enjoy events where I'm just meeting someone's family and being welcome into their home and having a new experience. And honestly, those are some of the best clients, some of the repeat clients that they trust you around their family. That's a valuable thing.
Yeah, and I would argue, like, I don't think just anyone can do that, right? I don't. Like,
Yeah.
I couldn't. Like, I have my little iPhone and whatever, but even if I had a regular camera, like, I could not do that. And and yeah, I enjoy looking at your photos, even when they're people I don't know, right? And I think it's because you make that effort to capture the humanity of the situation and I mean, it's usually just joy, happy tears,
Hmm.
all of these great, good feelings. People look happy. They're together with the people that they care about. Like it's fun to look at those photos. So I think there is an artistic piece to, like, a lot of people are like, oh yeah, like portraiture or whatever is not really artistic. I don't think so. I think you can really bring an artistic flair, at least, if not a full-on artistic perspective, into almost any kind of photography
Mm-hmm.
or writing or painting or whatever, right? Like I
Yeah.
don't believe in like low and high art. And so when I look at your work, especially work where you're with real people, you're able to do that and capture these real moments and these real emotions in ways that most people can't. Whether it's because of, you have the talent, you have the experience, you have the skill. And I will say also, having worked with you, you are one of those people who isn't like, you let your art speak for yourself. You don't like show up and you're like, I am here,
Mm-hmm.
right? And in fact, you're the opposite of that. You tend to stay in the corner,
Yeah.
right? You're very quiet, you're very subdued, you're an observer, you're a person who pays attention. And I think that's what makes you so good at what you do.
Thank
I
you.
mean, I've admired your work for such a long time, but I think that that's a huge piece to why you're able to get the captures that you are, is because you are really good at taking yourself out of it and you put the focus on your subjects and on getting the best you can out of them. And, that's not something you can learn in school. Like you have to learn that through experience, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. I
Yeah.
appreciate that. If I could describe my aesthetic in at all, it is that of like, there's nothing I value more than capturing human emotion
Mm.
and human experiences and whatever form that is my goal. And I there's no gig that I take where that isn't the goal, whether it's a CEO headshot or, a kid's birthday party or live music. Like that is the goal 100% of the time, to translate a human experience into an image so that other people see it and understand what it was like to be there, at least through my eyes. So yeah, I appreciate
Yeah.
that.
I mean, that sounds like, when you say it, it sounds really like, oh, that's what I'm doing. But that is not an easy thing to accomplish. I think it's actually because we just kind of, I don't know, we go through life just sort of, everyone is focused on themselves. And I don't know. I feel like what you do is really a textbook definition of art, in that you're attempting to convey something with deep meaning. You are taking your ego out of the equation. You're using full empathy, and then you have honed a set of skills that allow you to do that, to actually, accomplish that vision. And none of that has anything to do with what kind of equipment you have. It has nothing to do with, your appearance. It has nothing to do with anything except your process and your ability to be in that moment and to execute on something that you believe in, that you've seen, that you want to see in the
Mm-hmm.
world. And that's fucking awesome, dude. I love it.
Thank you. Yeah, it's really like, an unhealthy obsession with other people. That's what it boils
Wow.
down to. Yeah.
Well, I will be coming to you for my author photos. I'm getting my
Yay.
book is being published in November, so I'll come get some photos. Like I told you, I'm trying to get myself into shape for public consumption. So hopefully we'll meet up in the next few months. But I just have so much respect for you, Virginia,
Thank
and
you.
you're just cool as shit too. Like, you are just a cool person. It's true. Everybody that knows you says so.
Well, I appreciate it, and the feeling is mutual. You are a very
Nah.
inspiring person and amazing person to know and to talk to. So definitely
Aw.
feel the bond.
Excellent. All right. Well, what I'm going to do is, when I publish this podcast, we're going to put links to all your stuff in the show notes. I hope everyone will go follow you, look at your portfolio, look at your Instagram, and appreciate how great your work is, and then tap you if y'all are in. Central Texas.
Mm-hmm.
Or if you want to fly Virginia to Dubai to photograph your wedding, she'd be happy to do
Hell
that.
yeah.
But in general, if you're in Central Texas and want some photography done, you should reach out to this lovely individual and her partner, because I have good feelings about what you guys are up to right now. I think this is going to be awesome, actually.
Thank you. Yeah, I feel really good about it. I'm excited, and I feel like this is the next step for us, and it's a big one. So it's going to be cool.
Awesome. All right. Well, thanks for joining me today. And gosh, this went by really fast.
It did.
So, is there anything else you want to tell the listening audience before we leave?
No.
Okay. I just had to give you the opportunity. It could be anything.
Yeah, like we didn't talk about politics. No, I'm just kidding. Let's get into that now. No.
When I was a teenager, I used to have this fantasy that I would get rich enough so that I could put public service announcements on billboards that I wanted to put. like the far left lane is for passing, jackass, right? Like things that I think are important that are pretty self-evident, and yet people don't recognize them. And then I got older and the internet came, and now everybody all the time is doing nothing but issuing public service announcements of that nature. Damn it.
You missed the boat.
All right, Virginia.
All right.
I'll talk to you soon.
Okay, talk to you later.